بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد عليه أفضل الصلاة والسلام.
Praise to Allah, the most merciful, dear moderator, organizers, and participants. Mr. Vasily, dear participants, dear colleagues and journalists, I am happy to greet you, to welcome you here at this meeting. We are here to understand our opportunities in the sphere of event coverage through news. And we will discuss issues relating to new trends in our activities and modern problems and challenges in our work that we shall discuss. And of course, this relates to differences the world is facing and the Islamic countries are facing as well. And Kazan Forum has become a ground for discussing very important issues and for implementation of very important and promising projects of historical importance. And Russia is successfully cooperating with the Islamic countries, and it's a shop for training new generation of journalists, enjoying new level of skills. And I invite you to take part in this shop. And of course, I hope that we'll achieve success, and I ask Allah to help me. Thank you very much.
Working with OIC for a number of years right now, and I have to say that it's a great example of actually how by just finding out more about each other, you can develop all the new ways to work together, to explore new possibilities, because just since we signed our cooperation agreement just a few years ago, we have managed to together with OIC, we have managed to to achieve more than with some countries, with some of our partners over the course of 10 or even 15 years. So it's really amazing. But to give credit where credit is due, the only reason that we've been able to achieve this level of success with our partners from UNA was, with the help of our other favorite colleagues who approached us with this initiative. So I would like to invite Miss or Mrs.? Miss, okay, good. Ms. Natalia Taratinova, who is the first secretary of the permanent mission of the Russian Federation to Organization of Islamic Cooperation, to say a few words, please.
Thank you so much, dear colleagues and dear friends. Thank you, Mr. Vasily. On behalf of the Russian Permanent Mission to the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, I'm very happy to be here. And first of all, I would like to thank the leaders, the government of Tatarstan, who is one of the most active regions of Russia in Russia's cooperation with the Islamic and Muslim world. This year we are celebrating the 55th anniversary of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, and last year we celebrated the 20th anniversary of Russia's joining the organization. And it was a really very big event for us and for our relations with the Islamic world. One of the most important fields of our cooperation is the informational sphere. And we were very, very lucky 3 years ago, during very difficult times for the whole world, during pandemic, we managed to achieve some agreements in this field. And we are very thankful and to Mr. Vasily and Ms. Asya for taking the risk during that time and preparing the agreement with UNA. We are also very thankful to Mr. Alyami and UNA, who were also very brave and took the courage during this pandemic. They also decided to join us in this adventure. And we hope that this step could be developed, and we hope to see more agreements in the future. So I'm wishing you good luck in your professional sphere, and thank you again.
Okay, so let's move to our main attraction today. Now, next to me is sitting my colleague, who is also an employee of Россия Сегодня Media Group. Now, his official title is the Director of Strategic Projects, special projects. Now, Mr. Mikhail Kondrad here, he has had a illustrious career, but I will not bore you with his biography. Nobody ever remembers that stuff anyway. So just to explain to you what his role in our agency is, every company in the world, not just a media company, every company of the world is worried about what tomorrow will look like and what it can do to stay ahead of the curve. So some companies, they buy already developed technical solutions from other companies in order to implement them in their work. Some companies create R&D departments, research and development departments, to, like I said, to maybe spend a little money and then stay ahead of the curve. But some companies, they hire special people, special in a good way, which we call visionaries. So these people, they have to, I don't want to use the word guess, but they have to, well, actually, yeah, make a pretty good guess what tomorrow will look like for the industry and what will be our problems or our benefits, and well, start getting ready for them today. And this is the job of Mr. Kondrad in our agency. Now, today our topic is artificial intelligence. As far as I'm concerned, it's a very controversial topic, because even in our own agency, you can walk around, talk to some people. Some say, okay, we have to drop everything, put all our money into developing artificial intelligence, which will be the name of the game tomorrow. Some people say that this will be the death of media industry, this will be the death of journalism, this will be the start of a complete chaos in the news industry. I have to admit, I'm a little bit pessimistic myself on this issue. So maybe today Mr. Kondrad will be able to convince me and you otherwise. Now, Mr. Kondrad has prepared a little presentation. At the end, let's make it a free discussion, so you can just join us, and we'll have some time for Q&A session. So please, I give the floor to Mr. Kondrad.
Thank you, Mr. Vasily, for this introduction, and once again, big thanks to the organizers for making this possible, and of course to our friends and partners for being here with us today. Like we just said, we're looking at a very complicated and a very new issue for media companies, and unlike what we've just said about this being the future and about making guesses about what the future will bring, I would like to focus today's presentation on as much practical material as possible to really try and bring out the most value to the participants from the news and media industry in what we have to share about our own experience so far in this field. But of course, trying to leave some time at the end for making guesses, questions and answers, and maybe trying to make some prediction between ourselves about what we think about the role of new technologies in our work. And yes, thankfully we can see the presentation. It really will be key. So hopefully everything will go smoothly. Next slide. Next slide, please. This is really the plan of the day. I'm going to start again with a quick introduction about what our company does and who we are in the media world. We will take a look at where we all are at this point in time in the development of AI, artificial intelligence, and ML, machine learning technologies. I'm going to try and show you a little demo of how we've managed to implement these technologies into a very practical solution, creating, I'm calling it a secret weapon for our editors. And we're going to look at the general spectrum of available AI technologies which media companies normally use or want to use these days. And we'll think about, maybe together, about the common questions facing media companies worldwide. This is specifically, should we try and build some technological products ourselves or buy them on the market? Or the second question, which is probably on everyone's minds, can the new technology steal our jobs or cut jobs or create jobs, whatever it is? Try to talk about this together. So let's start with a little introduction. Next slide. Next slide. Our company is an international media group, which is called Россия Сегодня, and it has two major consumer brands. That is, the brands under which our consumers read and listen to our news. RIA Novosti is a news agency and also one of Russia's biggest, in terms of audience, biggest news websites with over 90 million unique visitors per month. It is in Russian language and for the Russian-speaking audience. Sputnik, the second major brand of our media group, is an international brand. It has websites in over 30 languages. It is also a newswire in 6 languages. It is a radio stations. We're broadcasting in 16 countries in multiple languages. There's a wide correspondent network making this all possible. And last but not least, we are one of Russia's biggest news photo providers with our flagship website, with an archive which dates back to the 19th century, with over 3 million images. And by the way, we're also the photo host of this forum. And if you want to go to find photos from today's event or from other events of the forum, to kazanforum2024.riamediabank.ru. This is our project, and among other things, a project that I'm responsible for is I am the product owner of that website and our main flagship photo website. So speaking of the things that I have to work with, to maybe also explain it a little bit better to the audience, like Mr. Vasily has just done, I am not a niche, narrow specialist in AI. I'm not a coder or a software engineer. I'm looking at things from a managerial point of view. I am a product owner and project manager who is tasked with making sure that new initiatives are brought in and integrated into the work of the news agency, cost efficiently, effectively in general. And it can be a variety of different things. So I'm in charge of various products like our photo websites, for example, and currently focusing on AI and ML technologies in our work. Next slide. And next slide. We're just going to go over quickly talking more about our international brand, probably the most important brand for everyone here in the audience. This is Sputnik News Agency and Radio, which was launched almost 10 years ago. 2014, we're headquartered in Moscow. Next slide. On the next slide, you can see that we're offering, as Sputnik News Agency Radio, a host of products for end consumers, so people who read the news on websites and social media, mobile apps, and of course radio. And 2 next slides, please. And next slide. Normally I'm using the clicker, so it goes more smoothly, but thankfully we're making this work today pretty seamlessly. And for our B2B clients, to our media clients, we're offering our news wires as a service, 5 and 6 languages, including Russian now, and our photo stream, our photo website, which I've just mentioned. These are the 2 major B2B products that we're offering to media partners such as yourselves. Next slide. Now to focus on the big picture, where we all are relating to the world of new technologies, specifically AI and ML. Next slide. This is really when I'm saying big picture, I literally mean that it's quite big. This is a very nice overview of the brands that are in one way or another involved in the machine learning, artificial intelligence, and data landscape. Now, this is a lot of different things and is just meant to show that a lot of companies are not only building new services and technologies, like the names you've all by now probably have heard of, OpenAI, Midjourney, other brands that are making a lot of noise around the world right now, but also the technological companies which are making it possible, from the chip builders like AMD and NVIDIA, to big technology providers like Microsoft and Intel, to IBM. Everyone, or so it seems, is currently experimenting with either building new technological products for their consumers or integrating these technologies into their products. Really, this is a global overview, but as journalists and people from the news and media industry, today we're only focusing on one part of that huge ecosystem. Next slide. If we zoom into the horizontal applications, we're going to start seeing some names which may be familiar. And we're talking about the solutions and products specifically used by news editors around the world right now. They are normally divided into several parallels or buckets regarding the type of media content that they have to deal with. Services for writing texts or rewriting texts using artificial intelligence, for working with audio and voice, for working with video, and with images. Now, I can take out most of these brands out of that slide and just leave the ones as an example, which either me or my colleagues have already experimented with in our work or are actually using as part of our daily work. Next slide. As you can see, there's actually not a lot of brands and tools that you need to cover your daily needs. And this is just taking out some of the stuff that we don't use and leaving the tools that I can say that we are either actively using or have used in the past or experimented with. Some solutions, for example, for creating images with AI, Midjourney, probably everyone has heard of that brand, Stability AI. The traditional designer tools like Adobe Photoshop and Figma, now being supplemented by the more experimental tools like Recraft, a service which allows you to create and recreate, and again recreate visual images in the work of the designer specifically. And I suppose that ChatGPT by OpenAI needs no introduction as one of the world's biggest large language models and conversational AI models. But we need to add on that slide some brands which were not there in that preview which I shown before, which also needs to cover fairly, I think, the brands, some brands that originate in Russia, Russian tech brands which we're using. Next slide. The actual tool set is a bit wider, so we're using some services where we write texts or we translate text from one language to another. And I want to draw your attention, of course, to the very good developments on the Russian market by companies such as Yandex and Sberbank, or Sber, for short, with their services for translation and transcribing audio and generating audio. This is Yandex. Or creating conversational AI models, which are on par, hardly better at this point, but they're really catching up to the major brands like ChatGPT that are on the market. This is Sber with their GigaChat tool. And there are other tools that we use in our work for transcribing audio, for generating audio. It's a mix of Russian and international services. Now, we'll try on the next slides to play some videos, and I'm going to try and give you a practical example of what it is exactly that we're talking about when I'm saying we're using some tools in our daily work, and which we will have a direct relation to the concept of should we create something ourselves or should we buy something on the market as an out-of-the-box solution. Next slide. And next slide. Now, I'm going to try and ask our assistants to play two videos for you in succession. One is going to be a video, short news video in the Russian language, and the other, an end product, reflecting a very typical process in our work, taking a Russian language video and then for our international brands like Sputnik, translating it into a multitude of other languages. English in this example, adding other logos, adding English language dubbing, adding subtitles. So in other words, creating a product for our end user, our readers on the web or on social media to interact with. Can we play the first and then the second videos, please?
We are happy to congratulate you with this event. On behalf of our party, I have a letter to you from Raul Castro.
And the second video. This is a video from
We have already congratulated you on this occasion on behalf.
От имени нашего народа и правительства передаю вам привет от Рауля Кастро.
This is a video from a very recent meeting between President Vladimir Putin and the President of Cuba, who was in Moscow for the Victory Day, the 9th of May. And the source video is in Russian, and the final product is something that we can share on our English language news channels. It's a video with a Sputnik logo on it, and we've translated the audio and added the subtitles in the video. Now, for everyone who's, I imagine most people in the audience are familiar with the publishing workflows. How much time would you think traditionally this creating a video like this would take your video editor and everyone who's involved in the process? First, you need to translate the original audio, you need to transcribe it, translate it, and task your video editor with adding the subtitles and the logo. So how much time do you think could that take the members of your teams? This is a question to everyone in the audience. $10 minutes. Would everyone agree with this? Yeah, 30 minutes, yeah, depending on the speed at which your employees can work or other factors. There can be many. Now, what if I told you that we can make this happen in 90 seconds? 1.5 minutes. And on the next slide, or the next video that we're going to play, I'm going to show you exactly how we're doing this. Next slide. We're able to transcribe a video, so generate some text from the audio, translate this script, generate another text, starting with Russian and ending with English language, add subtitles, so burn in the subtitles on the video, burn in the logo, and even dub the video with English language audio, just like you've seen in the example. And the best part of it all, we can make this work on any employee's mobile phone by using a Telegram bot. Now, it's best to see once than to talk about this for 30 minutes, which we will. But first, we're going to see a little demo. If we can play the third video, please. So the way it's a Telegram bot which we've created ourselves. So as an employee, you log in. This is a bot where you upload on your mobile phone. You upload the video. There's a menu that says you choose transcribe speech to text. So you're getting already the Russian transcription. Now you're clicking translate. You're translating this into. There's a choice of languages. Arabic is there also, by the way. So you're using that text to generate subtitles, and you want to add a logo. I'm choosing which logo I want to use. This is Sputnik, and I'm choosing the position of the logo, and I'm generating the file. It takes a while, and it's done. Now the next step is to dub the video file. Now I'm using the same file, uploading this to the bot, and this is real time. So next my choice will be to dub, and I'm using the text files which we've generated during this session, just like 2 minutes earlier, less than 2 minutes. I'm choosing the language which I want to dub this in. I'm generating the audio track, and the second part will be done in a couple of moments. And the end result is that video which you've seen. So it takes a little bit of time.
We have already congratulated you on this occasion on behalf of our people and government. On behalf of our party, I have a letter for you, a congratulatory letter from Army General Raul Castro Ruz.
Okay, so on the next slides, I'm going to walk you through this very quick demo. I had to show it to you in real time. I was losing a little bit of time when I was using the bot, so I just recorded my own phone screen. Next slide. But literally that was 1 minute and 30 seconds. It was not a very long video. I have to give it that. It was only 15 to 20 seconds. But the time spent, the increase in time of processing longer videos is not that large. We're gonna maybe spend you're gonna wait 30 seconds less, 30 seconds more, 1 minute more, but it's gonna be more or less around the same timing, even with longer videos. Now, the way it works for us as a tool, and again, I'm just giving you an example of a practical hands-on solution which any of our employees can use on any day from their mobile phone without having to use a PC or a Mac computer, desktop computer with any editing capabilities. It's not suited for every task. It's not suitable for more complicated editing goals, but for quick creation of short videos for social media, it's perfect. And our employees are already actively using the bot as we speak. So I'm going to walk you through the slides and explain what we've just seen. And I'm going to talk to you about, of course, what's under the hood of that bot, what technologies does it use, and how we're making this possible. We didn't buy it on the market, we created it ourselves, but using tools that are available for everyone. Now you log on to the bot and you choose your action. You see the spectrum of the actions that this bot can do. I've just shown you the full set of its skills. You can add logos, subtitles, transcribe speech to text, translate text into languages. And you start by sending a video file. It can also do audio files. So next slide. First, we upload a video and we transcribe it, getting the text in the Telegram and also some text files as subtitle files or text files in the interface. which you can use. If you need to edit the subtitles, you can edit one of these files manually, or you can proceed if you just need the text for your other goals. If, for example, you just need to transcribe a video, this is all that you need. The bot can help you with this. You don't have to follow the full workflow, of course, every time. You can use all or any of these tools. But as part of the full process, which we've just seen, we're transcribing a video with a couple of clicks, and it works. We've seen real time around 5 to 10 seconds for a short video. Next slide. We then translate the script, and we have a choice of several languages. This depends on the tools that you use, and I'm going to explain what it means, but we can translate any language into English, French, Spanish, German, Arabic, Chinese, or Russian. Just using English here as an example. Next, you use that translation, which we've just generated, to add subtitles to this video. So we've been generating texts so far. Next step is different. We're generating a video file. Next slide. We can even choose between two different presets, which we just chose for ourselves: white characters on black background, black characters on white background. And in pretty much the same step, because you'll be creating a video, it's convenient to do two things at the same time, to add subtitles and add a logo. I've just explained that we're working with two brands as part of our media group. There's the RIA Novosti in Russian and Sputnik in the other languages. So we have a choice of two logos for our employees, either RIA or Sputnik. And we can even choose the location of the logo in the example which we've seen earlier. There are some other logos on the video, so there's always the choice which is the best place to put the logo. Subtitles down below, left or right bottom corner probably wouldn't work great, so I chose top left corner, which was free, and we give this flexibility to the editor to put our logo where they want it, the 4 options. And next we generate the video, and as part of the current workflow, I'll have to re-upload this video to then dub it in another language. So I first downloaded the video from Telegram, I re-uploaded it again. It does take a little bit of time, but it's not that long. And next slide, the final step is to generate audio for the video, and I've shown you the text files which we've generated originally with the English script. I just forwarding these files in the messenger to the bot, and of course the bot works just like a chat interface with your friend. I'm forwarding this text file to the bot, and I have the same choice of languages that I want to use for dubbing. So I could have done that in Arabic or German or Chinese. We chose Russian for the example, and then I generate the audio track, and we're done. So this is what happens in 90 seconds here. There's several actions and it means, of course, that ultimately it either saves time for your employees in their work, it can save time, it can save resources, because not everyone needs to be equipped with a fully equipped editing station. For example, a PC or a Mac with Premiere or other editing software installed on it. The easier tasks can be delegated to just a bot on a mobile phone. And this is really easy to use for everyone, for every employee. They don't have to turn to a video editor. They don't have to have the skills necessary to use the software themselves. The tools are literally at our employees' fingertips. Now, of course, you can speculate as to whether it can or cannot cut jobs in your company, whether you can fire your video editor and just delegate some of the tasks to this bot. This is an open question. So far, this is also an experiment to us. What we know for now, definitely, that it really makes life easier for the employees and their work with their workflow, specifically for creating videos, for short videos for social media. Next slide. Here is a bit more about what is what the capabilities and the tools that we're using for the bot. I have mentioned that we can translate to 7 languages and generate speech in 7 languages, but we can transcribe from a much wider range of languages. So in theory, we've tested some of these languages. I know, for example, some of my colleagues that did Romanian, some other languages as well, and it works. So this is for transcribing. Speech generation and translation is not available in every language. We may want to widen that, but this is what the tool already works with at this moment. And what the bot is actually a platform for 5 different tools built in this bot, or specifically, they're all installed on our servers, on our, speaking the IT level. We're either installing some code, some open source tool on our servers, and the bot serves as the interface which works with these tools, or we're using outside tools via API, automated programming interface, where we don't own the service, but we're communicating with the service. In this case, I've mentioned Yandex, and I think I can say that openly. The translation tool inside the bot is the Yandex Translate API, but you can also find other options. For every tool here, I'm not even listing the specific names of the tools because there are several alternatives on the market. There are paid alternatives. There are free open source solutions that you can use. Not a lot of opportunities maybe to build something from scratch. And here are the actual AI and ML tools that we're using in the bot. This is machine translation. This is the tools for transcribing audio to text. Now, editing the video is not artificial intelligence or machine learning. This is just script-based tools, codecs, which generate the video. The part where we have burned in the subtitles and the logo on the video. And speech generation, that's also a paid API. That's an AI tool that we're using to generate speech. So like I've said, some of these tools are free. Some of these tools are paid. In this case, just the speech generation. If any of you have ever had the experience, you or your children, building a gaming PC, a computer, or you know how it's done, you know that you have a chassis, and inside you can buy different components online when you're building a computer. There is a processor, a graphics card, a motherboard, other chipsets, and all the components that you choose yourself, and you install all of that, you mix and match, and in the end, it's a computer that runs. This bot is pretty much the same. We've chosen the 5 components that we like, and we're using the Telegram bot as a free-to-use, convenient interface for our users, for our employees. It's more convenient than a web-based solution, but it's also a possibility. So building a website like CMS or a web interface for people to be doing the same tasks using the same tools. It's just that Telegram offers you a really convenient platform where you can create something even using limited programming skills. So this is not rocket science. Pretty much everyone can learn how to build a Telegram bot. And again, none of these tools, these 5 tools, are something that we've developed ourselves. We've found something on the market. We've downloaded some and installed some open source libraries. And we're making this all work as part of one tool. It's like a Swiss Army knife, which has several tools inside it.
Can I ask a question immediately? Well, because of who is sitting here in the audience, I'm seeing here dozens of languages, but for some reason I'm missing Farsi. Where's Persian? Yeah. Do you have any idea, or is this because of the solutions on the market that you've mentioned?
It is because of the solutions on the market that we've mentioned. Ideally, we would like to have more languages available, but this is also, and it's important, it's a very fresh tool. It's an experiment. This bot was just launched and opened for our employees to use several weeks ago. It is a very fresh thing, and we're still in an experimental phase with it, and we'll try to add more languages. What this depends is we're limited to the choice of the languages in the tools, in the open source tools that we find on the market. If we choose a different source, different library, we may have a wider choice there. Even with translating into and generating speech into, we are limited to the bigger languages that are on the market. But of course, ideally, we'd like to have more. And I have no doubt that we will develop this tool further, and we will be able to add Farsi and other languages down the road. Again, this is experimental to the point where only yesterday, I think I got the first figures, the first statistics of how many people inside the company and are using the bot and how many actions per day or per week we're seeing with this bot. So it was, as of January and February, a project that was just starting. It was in production last month in March and April, and we really rolled that out for our employees to use several weeks ago. But already I'm trying to talk to you about it, but I'm sure that it's going to have a good future, because even though it's experimental, we're seeing interest and good usage figures inside the company. So this is only available to registered users, to our employees. Unfortunately, we cannot open this due to security reasons outside as an outside service at the moment. This is internal. But importantly, this is an example that anyone can replicate, because we're using the tools that are available for free. Most of these tools are for free, available on the market, but you just need to get your IT teams and your software developers on the case, and pretty much sure that they'll be able to replicate that, especially in Telegram. This is, at the moment, version 1.0. This is what is inside the hood of that bot. Next slide. I also wanted to do a quick rundown of the other tools that we're using, not just this Telegram bot. An overview of the usual range of AI tools for the media that is used in our profession, and how it's reflected in our work. Next slide. So normally when you're in the news and media business, there are several approaches to generative AI. I'm sure you've all heard that term, and you all know that it usually works with when you're thinking of types of content, like we've seen in the first slides with solutions separated into little buckets. There are text generating tools that are tools that either turn text into speech or speech into text. Nothing new, that has been on the market for decades. But the tools are becoming increasingly better as we speak. Even more so, even more amazingly so, the tools that generate images from text or turn images into text by tagging the images, or by specifically by describing the image using AI and machine learning, and of course generating video from a text prompt and turning video, like we've just seen, transcribing video files, which is the same as really speech to text. In this context is the same as video to text. And by video to video, I mean editing videos, and there are tools, online tools, which allow you to do just that. So generate one video based off another video file. Now, if we go down all of these verticals, just some examples, what we're using in our daily work. Next slide. When we're talking about text to text, in our work, this is the services, which we're also building internally for generating headlines for news articles on our websites, generating leads, and generating article texts. This is a project that's already in production. It's also not new, and news agencies have been doing this for years now. Big players have been putting out sports news and economic news that are generated by AI for years now, but we've just recently rolled that out for a very small section of our website. It's in Russian. I've just used Google Translate to create this English language version of our website. The article is originally in Russian, and so far our experiment is only about the sports section on the website, and even more specifically the football section on the website, and even more specifically just international football games, not domestic ones, because also that is a new project that's only been put in production this year, several weeks ago. So this article has been completely generated from scratch, or not from scratch, but from a data set which includes results of a game with the names of the players who scored, the results again, the numbers, and the time of the game where the goals were scored, etc. The results of the standings of the teams. And from this data, we're able to, using our own algorithms, to generate an article for the website. In another point, we're also able to, you see there's below the article, there's a related article about soccer, football, and some tags at the bottom. The tags are auto-generated as well, and the related article at the bottom was selected or suggested to the editor by an algorithm. We're not yet ready to write any article, especially news article, using algorithms. We're all about quality, not quantity, and we're, I think, proud to say that most of our content, really the majority of our content, of course, definitely, it's not only human-made, it's fact-checked by real journalists. It's very important in this age of fake news, etc. So we're only experimenting with the formats that are suitable for algorithms. In our case, this is sports. Maybe next, economy, finance news. But so far, that's it. We're also, of course, experimenting with translating texts automatically from Russian to English and the other way around. Next slide. We've just seen the bot which can transcribe speech to text and generate speech. We've shown you the example where we're taking a pre-recorded video and I'm feeding this to the bot, but the next step for us will be to implement this for our live feeds, for live broadcasting on our website, so that we can, for example, have a source live transmission, like right now we're talking to an offline audience and to an online audience. So in our project, we will be able to translate and generate speech automatically as we're transmitting live. Whether or not this project will be successful, we'll see, but it's already in production. It's under construction, so nothing to boast about yet, but hopefully in the coming weeks or months, we'll have something. Another future project that we want to experiment with is generating a brand voice for a company. This is a tool where we can have an actor use their voice, digitalize it, to then generate new audio files in that person's voice. For example, we want to have a project where we have a face of the project, a voice of the project, and you will need a human for that. You will need an actor. You can generate some voice from scratch using the tools that are already available. But it's one thing, and another is taking, it will be actually, we plan to use one of our employees, digitalize their voice, and make them the voice of one of our brands for a specific project. This will require collaboration with the Russian tech brand. We cannot do this ourselves, but we want to use an outside service for that. So this is another project that's under construction for us when we're talking about speech to text and text to speech services. Next slide. As everyone, I suppose we're experimenting with generating images by AI tools. We've experimented with using OpenAI's tools and Midjourney and Stability AI. This is an image on the image to the upper side of the slide. We even say openly on the website, and it's quite obvious to everyone now that you can probably recognize the style of AI-generated images. This is we do that when there's a topical picture that we cannot find online. We don't want to task our designers with drawing it, so we generate images instead. This is, of course, what a lot of people have been doing for the past year or two very actively. And another project for us, when I'm saying image to text, I'm blending in facial recognition and next tagging, writing tags, tags and descriptions for photographs, which what we plan to do is for events like this, where we're the photo host agency, we're taking pictures of the forum, and we have a database with all the usual major speakers who come to these events regularly. It could be Russian politicians, could be politicians from other countries. Instead of tagging them manually every time, we should be able to use facial recognition and find these faces on photographs and match them with a description in our database and tag the photo saying this is a meeting or this is roundtable discussion with the participation of the following people. And ideally we should have the tags for the VIPs, at least, and the major faces, which regularly come to events like the St. Petersburg Economic Forum, the Kazan Forum, of course. So this is a tool which we're developing for our use specifically at events like Kazan Forum, at the St. Petersburg Forum. This is an experiment. We have some results already, but we're not yet ready to put this into production. And for this, we're using open source libraries which we've installed, which our software developers have installed, and from that point, we're trying to develop them and make them ready for our use, to teach the algorithms what we want them to do. Next slide. So with text to video, generating video from text can be as diverse as putting subtitles on a video, which we've just seen, and transcribing videos, to transcribing live videos, which is a project for us which is still under construction. Editing videos online, for example, the video with the bot, which we've seen the 1 minute 30-second long video which I've shown to you. There's a cut in the middle of the video, and I don't have access to video editing software myself, so what I did actually was use an online AI video editing software where I just uploaded 2 bits of the video and put them together using an online tool. And an interesting thing that seems to be in fashion at the moment, but which I am honestly not very optimistic about, but we want to experiment with, more of a fashion thing really, just my opinion, is creating virtual avatars. Either a completely virtual person is talking to you, starting with text and voicing the text, and then have a person in vision, like a virtual presenter, read out the text to you, from either using a completely computer-generated face to digitalizing the face of one of our employees. We've tried several lines of approach, and if we can play the next 2 videos, you can see little presentations that our teams have done about how they experiment with virtual avatars.
Сегодня впервые с использованием искусственного
They're using, so this is Victoria, an AI MC. Today, it was she conducted the video bridge for the first time, and her appearance is taken from a real staff member, a real Victoria. The staff member conducts bridges for 6 countries. Virtual MC works with the help of a self-learning algorithm. She can conduct a discussion with the speakers invited to the bridge. So, Vardan, please, your question. So she's addressing the participants of the bridge. One more question from our press center. So usage of these technologies will help Sputnik to increase the number of press events and expand the circle of events and participants. It will not replace the real person, but it will provide the flexibility for 4 months of such events. I try to do my best to conduct the international bridge. Within the nearest future, I will be able to speak more foreign languages.
Colleagues, and this was, of course, a virtual presenter hosting a teleconference. And of course, what they've done is they asked a real person working for our agency to, with her permission, to have her face and voice digitalized. So they shot her different angles, recorded her voice, and used her as the basis for creating a virtual persona, which can then perform and actually host a teleconference by using text-based input. It's just an experiment, more an experiment for an experiment's sake. But now we can say we've done that. We know how this works. If we want to, we can have a virtual presenter replacing us, replacing Mr. Vasily at some point, probably. We can digitalize you, I think, and have someone writing the text and your face and voice.
I already have a question ready for you. After you finish, I'll ask it.
So this is a very practical application. We're not sure this is the future. Again, an experiment. And another thing, what we've done is we've generated, also under the Sputnik brand, a whole series of virtual avatars who are, in this case, this is a B2B use case where she's presenting at a teleconference, but also we're generating avatars for end users on our social networks to read the news to people. And in a second video, we can see an example of this. Can we play the second video?
This is Joy, Sputnik Africa's virtual
Can
presenter.
we see the
Ici
video,
Anna,
please?
présentatrice virtuelle de Sputnik Afrique.
نهاركم سعيد معكم مايا.
Olá, meu nome é Zuza e eu sou a apresentadora virtual da Sputnik Brasil.
大家好，我叫妮卡，我是俄罗斯卫星通讯社的人工智能主持人。
Dünyanın tek doğal uydusu olan Ay'a yolculukta 11 ülke Ay'a gitti.
Hola, soy Tania Sputnikova y hoy les traigo un nuevo análisis de la geopolítica mundial.
It's a pity we couldn't see the video. I'm always surprised at no matter how advanced technologies get, there's always a problem with playing a video at a conference, and I wish we had an amazing artificial intelligence tool that will always play videos faultlessly at presentations, but so far this is not the case. Basically, there was a series of virtual avatars in various languages used by different language Sputnik teams for reading the news. Now, this, again, like I've mentioned, this seems to be the fashion also internally for the company. But I'm thinking, when you think of innovation that goes beyond just doing something for the sake of innovating, but using tools that should eventually help you to either speed things up or cut costs or make your work more efficient. It doesn't necessarily do that. For example, we are not a TV channel. For a TV channel, using a virtual presenter instead of a paid presenter on screen could be a means to cut costs. For us, it's not, because we normally don't use a lot of people in vision in general. So this is so far an experiment, but it is my prediction, and it's just my personal view only. It's not very optimistic. I think with generating virtual avatars, this will be a fashionable thing for a certain time, then we'll reach a peak, and then by the point in time where everyone's used to seeing virtual people, it will become commonplace and people will quickly lose interest in it because it doesn't necessarily bring out any extra value apart from just novelty. And it's in no way better than an actual live person on screen, unless you're thinking of cutting costs as a manager, but I would say this is questionable. So far, it's an interesting experiment. So again, to put everything in context, this is again a list of the projects that we either already have in production, helping us, which you're using, or under construction. And just adding, apart from generative AI, managing data, working with databases, and using machine learning for website publishing. When I mentioned we can generate headlines and article texts for sports, we can also generate related articles and tags. What is in progress here for us, coming up next, is being able to match illustrations from our database. And like I've mentioned, we have our own database, with our own photo library, which is more than 3 million images, but also photos that we buy from our partners. So being able to leverage that library to automatically match illustrations with articles. All of this will allow us to probably use less less web editors, or move them on to other jobs. This could cut costs or cut production times, whichever way you look at this. And we're also even want to attempt at generating URLs, so article URLs which contain words. Even that job we can definitely outsource to algorithms. So picking up words from an article's headline or the article text to make sure that we have SEO optimized URLs for our articles automatically. So here what we're driving at is trying to automate most of the work of a web editor that revolves around publishing articles. And a lot of these things are either being put into production as we speak, or they've been in production for weeks, literally. A lot of these things, these projects, these tools, have virtually been launched end of last year, beginning of this year. A very fresh story for us. But I think with the current speeds of development, we're going to see much more tools like this and more initiatives of new projects like this in the coming months and before the year's end. And next slide, please. There's one topic that I've already touched upon. I will not speak about this in a lot of detail. It's an open question. Next slide. There's definitely thinking about this from a manager's point of view and talking to you about it. My view of these projects, and this is where I come in as a project manager, it is my job to try and prioritize projects based on where the tools are coming from, and there's definitely a division between out-of-the-box tools, paid tools that we use. For example, generating virtual avatars, that's a paid tool, a commercial tool, which we're paying on a subscription basis, or a generation per generation basis, that we found on the market and which we're using. There are open source tools, libraries, which we found and installed, and we can control them and develop them and teach the algorithms further with some tweaks. Some algorithms were custom built by us, and we employ some machine learning engineers as part of our team. So far, we can only work with text. We're not able to create a language model like ChatGPT or an image generating model like Midjourney. But as far as text goes, we have some expertise, and we're already experimenting by using our expertise and our algorithms to do everything that revolves around website publishing, which is really the number one priority area for us, because like I've said, we're not a TV channel. We don't do that many videos. We don't do that many images. It's mostly website articles and text. And like I've mentioned, we'll plan to collaborate with some partners to create custom-built tools like this branded voice project, which I've just mentioned. So the sources can be different, and just to share with you my vision as a project manager, on the next slide, I'm trying to see at the full scope of the tools available for us, and to make sure that we prioritize the tools that we can either build ourselves or which we develop ourselves, the tools which we can have control of. And this has to do with, well, let's say, pure common sense and economics on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's an open secret, of course, that we, inside Russia, we have been over the past couple of years denied access to some of the tools that are developed by American or European or other international companies, unfortunately. Good enough for us, we have been able to either find alternative solutions for these tools or develop our own products. But it is our point of view that there's always, in our reality, which we're facing, there's always, at the moment, a risk of disruption based on the fact that we are a Russian company, which can be either administrative, being denied access. This hasn't happened more or less, or more commonly financial reasons, where we're having sometimes trouble with, of course, finding a means of payment that would work for example, a US-based service, which in this case we would ignore, of course. But also, there's another aspect of working in the news and publishing, is that services, for example, which generate virtual avatars, some months ago, you could use them to generate videos about news and politics. But at some point, some of these services have started introducing limitations. I wouldn't use the word censorship, but it's more limitations on political context. So whenever we were trying to, first we were using these services, then all of a sudden we realized that when we were trying to generate video about news in general, could be some news about Ukraine, could be some news about other countries, anything that's politics related, we wouldn't be able to generate this anymore, and this was because the platform has introduced limitations on political context when generating videos. Because probably it is my guess that they were trying to avoid creating content that could be potentially divisive or used for political reasons. Long story short, some of these tools are very good for you if you're in advertising and if you're in marketing, if you're doing commercial projects. If you're in news and politics, not so much. So this factor has actually been quite big in our decision to step away from some of the Western services towards finding open source alternatives or building things ourselves. But there's always a mix. There's always a balance that we're trying to do. So here is just an example of a document which I use to track our projects. The red ones are in initiatives, which we haven't started yet. Yellow ones are the ones that are in production, and green ones, they're rolled out and ready. Without mentioning the specific projects for security reasons, probably. But this is what we're thinking of every day right now, and it's I want to share this because this is, I think, the mindset that every manager in the news business needs to have today. When thinking about the vast choice, the vast range of tools that are available for you on the market, because it's really too easy to get lost in all the options. And one way of making choices is prioritizing, in our case, in-house development or open source tools. Another aspect, of course, is with open source tools, we're able to build custom products like the Telegram bot, which I've just shown to you in the beginning of the presentation. And finally, on the next slide, next section, it's an open question about, well, it's been ruminating, it's been circling around the industry for a while now. Interesting to everyone here in the audience this day, including, of course, our translators. Will AI be able to replace me and take my job? We know that some jobs are theoretically under more threat than others. It could be people who work with languages, translators, it could be designers, could be web editors, and I've just explained to you how web editors could be replaced by algorithms. Could be video editors and even coders, because of course large language models, the more advanced ones these days, can write code as good as or even better than a junior level or even maybe a middle level developer. And of course there are new jobs emerging, such as AI trainers, people who will need to train the new models and algorithms as they're developed. Prompt engineers, the people who will be skilled at writing the right prompt for an algorithm to generate the right image, the right video. This is a skill in itself, as we're already starting to learn, and from what I'm hearing every day, there's a shortage of prompt engineers on the market. Not a lot of people know how to really write a good prompt for different models, be it text, image, or video. There will be content creators which will move on from shooting and editing videos with a camera to generating videos using AI tools. So there will have to be someone with the skills of a prompt engineer specifically to generate content that will originally be AI generated. So that could be another job, another profession in itself. Not saying it will replace the traditional content creators, but it at least can be something that can coexist in parallel with the traditional media. Product managers, hopefully, such as myself, to oversee that, maybe are under less threat as is management in general. And of course, we will need, with everything that's AI generated, Q&A, so quality control. This goes beyond fact-checking already, making sure that it's not only fact-checked for facts, but checked for the right tone, for maybe certain nuances of sense, and of course the general quality of the texts, for example, that are generated by ChatGPT. We already know that different models can have their biases, and working with these biases and potential biases in the future is a whole new world which we're just beginning to think about. And this will also require probably a new profession or new job. AI ethicist is a person who could be tasked with making sure that whatever the model is putting out is actually matching the traditional ethics of the human society, not just to speak about facts and fact-checking everything that AI models are putting out, because as you know, don't always generate facts. Sometimes they hallucinate. This is the term that is used in the industry, hallucinations, when models invent some facts on the go. But there's a deeper underlying motive, of course, of ethics. Can the output of these models be twisted or manipulated and go against the ethics of a certain society, of a certain group? But it is my view that to really perform all of these tasks, we will still need the the professionals with the traditional jobs of translators and designers and web editors and video editors, etc. On the next slide. Finally, it is my view that there will still be room for everyone, for quality and for quality control, for training, for teaching the models to really do the work of the people. And I don't see in the future AI fully replacing any profession and to a full extent because of the challenges which we've just outlined. That's one thing. And another thing, as you know, almost no legacy media has really left us because the newspapers are still with us as an actual paper newspapers. Radio is still with us. And other media, people are still listening to to music online as well as on vinyl and on cassette tapes. So I think that really with the vector of development of technology within the human society is that everything goes in circle. And even though right now we're somewhere approaching the pinnacle of the hype around AI and ML technologies, at some point it will become just one of the factors shaping our reality, and we'll have to learn to live with these instruments side by side while keeping the traditions in place. So this is my view, but of course I'll be more than happy to discuss this with you and answer also any questions that you might have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Unfortunately, we don't have time for questions. Maybe, but you've, it was a very, very comprehensive description of what AI is at this point. Maybe just one. Does anybody have a question they want to ask? Yes, please, sir. Of course, please. I don't think we have a mic here, but.
مرحبا بكم جميعا شكرا للمنظمين على هذه الفرصة.
Dear Mr. Vasily, thank you very much for this important meeting, and to Mr. Conrad, as the head of news agency from Tunis, I'm very proud that I'm acquainted with my colleague Vasily, and I welcome everyone and thank you very much for everyone, because this is a very important topic and this is a revolution in the news business. And of course, we have a certain amount of issues. So the first question is, can we for example, our web editors that are responsible, and can they work with these advanced technologies, these modern technologies, with AI and the development of the skilled personnel that would be able to work with it? And that's what you noticed on the Sputnik news channel. And the second question, how can we use these technologies and people who make these products, and of course editors and TV editors, all this media and these technologies, and the last question is, have you ever used your employees or journalists with the use of these technologies on Sputnik?
If hopefully I got everything right. So we're not a tech company, so we're not offering any of these technologies. Most of these were not developed by us anyway, so we're definitely not able to offer that as a service. At some point in the future, maybe, when we're sure that whatever we could offer could be a high enough quality product for our B2B colleagues, so business to business colleagues. This point in time could come in the future. Right now, it's very new. These tools are very new even for us. So the first step is for us to work with them and make sure that they fit in our workflow, and then we maybe will be ready to share these tools with our colleagues and partners. But that is to say, when I was talking about the projects I was saying were in production. So some of these are either they're under development, or they're already being used by our journalists, like the Telegram bot. It is used by the journalists or the editors specifically, who need to, for example, in this very practical specific case, need to transcribe videos in their day-to-day work, or need to translate something in their day-to-day work. We're already seeing some usage. Some, like I said, are experiments which I'm sure will end as experiments, like with virtual avatars. We will see them being used in the near future, but I don't think they will stay with us for a long time. And it will be the tools that allow you to cut costs, to save some money on production, to speed up production, and to reduce the number of people on your teams by either moving them, whether it's job cuts or moving people to other projects. That's up to every company to decide. But I think that these projects will win. It will be the practical use, not a virtual face because it looks fashionable. So I think in the long run, we will keep the technologies that are easy to use and are very practical. And there is much more happening in the world of artificial intelligence and machine learning at the moment. There are more advanced tools than the ones I've been showing you. For example, this week there was a major announcement from OpenAI, the world's probably biggest language model, the maker of ChatGPT, with their new OpenAI 4.0 model, which really is very impressive and works like a fully fledged virtual assistant, like in science fiction movies, with a voice that can speak with emotion and can talk to you and can translate what you're saying on the go and can search the web for you. This is just like the things we've seen in the science fiction movies, again, but here, because this is in a B2B environment, we're talking about specific tools that we're using in our day-to-day work. So I'm only talking to you about the practical implications of using new technologies, not just about the things you can read in the news. That's really an open source information. The value was us opening up our internal process. It's like our kitchen where we're cooking new things for ourselves, and this is where we are at the moment. This is mostly internal. In the future, hopefully we'll be able to share these products with other players, with other friends and partners, and also share our experience as in teaching other people how to develop tools like this. I think we still need some time to work on it ourselves. Again, this is very, very new stuff, and we will see together where this development of new technologies will take us and the whole industry.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have promised the organizers to clear this room by this time, well, by 10 minutes ago actually, but nevertheless, thank you everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Conrad. I hope this was at least of some benefit or interest to you. So let's give warm greeting to Mr. Conrad. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
And we'll meet each other many times more later on in the evening. So thank you, everyone.